I was just thoroughly entertained.
I know. Today we conclude our series on the success principles. And I want to share our governing quote from Thomas Edison that I repeated every Sunday of May, and now we're ending it in June. He once said, if we did all the things that we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. So truly, we're amazing, magnificent beings, but we have to truly believe that. Using Jack Canfield's insightful and empowering book, The Success Principles, how to get from where you are to where you want to be, this month we have recognized and aligned with our inner creative power to succeed, acknowledging that it is a God-given gift. It truly is. As we succeed, we prove the fundamental spiritual principle of our science of mind. There is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. So yes, that story was so perfect. It's a perfect demonstration of what we teach, and it truly is. That happens over and over again when we really stay rooted and anchored in these principles of success. That was success. Whoa, Hugh Jackman, come on. Wow. In the book, Your Aladdin's Lamp, it is reported that Ernest Holmes did a simple prayer with his protege, Bill Hornaday, he studied under Ernest Holmes and was his protege, as he was opening as a speaker for the first Belmont Theater service. And then he said to him, "That's good. It's done, Bill." Just that simple. Ernest Holmes was very simple. Now go and prove the principle. If you can't prove it, if you can't live it, then what good is it, right? It's just a bunch of words every Sunday, every class. We embody it. We do what Linda and Amy did. We use it in our lives, and wow, is it successful. And that's what we do when we succeed. We are proving this principle. And there's one other thing that we are doing when we succeed. We are uplifting the whole planet. We truly are. We affect others. It's a big difference we make. Whether we know it or not, that's not important. So think about the honeybee. I love bees. The primary objective of going after a nectar to support itself is the bee's function. It's its primary, and then to bring it back to the hive. But it is unknowingly involved in a much higher purpose. As it flies, this is why bees are so important to this planet. As it flies from flower to flower, gathering its nectar, its wings pick up the pollen from other plants and then cross-pollinate all the rooted botanicals in the world. It is an unintentional byproduct of the bee's nectar-seeking activity. It's doing its good, and it's benefiting us. It's benefiting the whole planet. So it is with you. So it is with you. As you pursue and achieve your success, there will always be a cross-pollination of that good that you are leaving with everyone you come in contact with, and even those that you are not coming in contact with. You make a difference. You make an absolute difference. Some you may see, and some you may never see. You don't have to see it, because the joy of succeeding, the joy of being in that flow of good is enough. It's enough to raise our vibration so high, and as we know, we're vibrational beings, and so is this entire universe, and because we don't even know the end of it, because there probably isn't an end to it. It is forever expanding itself. So even the scientists can't tell you where it began and where it ended. They have theories, but they can't really tell us. There is no private good. It is a good that affects everyone, and what a wonderful way to affect people. So today we're going to conclude our series on this topic by looking at two principles. There's 64 principles in the book, and we're using these final two to end the series. So, and this is where success starts now. To use, and that's the name of today's talk topic, in case you meant. Success starts now. Why not? Is there any other time? No, there is not. And so, we're going to jump right in. The first success principle that we're going to talk about today is number 30. And it says, face what isn't working. Now, that doesn't sound like much fun, right? Like last week's was so much better is when we wrote down all of our successes. We did it in service, and then hopefully you did it at home. That was more fun, but this is necessary. So hang in there with this one. The visionary writer Aldous Huxley once wrote, he didn't know, but what he said was so brilliant. He said, facts do not cease to exist simply because we ignore them. I like that. And it's true. Things are existing, and if we don't choose to acknowledge it, then it doesn't make a difference. It's existing anyway. It's existing anyway. And for a good metaphysician, which is what we all are, we're all metaphysicians, this success principle may seem contradictory to our teachings and beliefs. We're not supposed to hang out, right? We're not supposed to hang out in the space of what we do not want, or that which is not working. We're supposed to be positive and focused on what we want only. So isn't this success principle contradictory to New Thought principles? I believe it calls us to do what Walter Starkey, in his book, Is All God, great book, tells us to do. Double think. We do double think. I love, when you're able to double think, you got it made, because that's the way to live on this life. What's double think? Okay, I'm going to explain it. We all have to be able to look at the facts. This is what is. This is what's going on. While absolutely at the same time knowing the spiritual truth about that, what is going on. And knowing what the truth is underneath it, the true essence of it. So when I do this all the time, like I'm going through, oh my God, I'll go through a thing like Amy or Linda with the ticket. Oh my God. But meanwhile, at the same time, I'm knowing that there is a power for good, and I'm using it. The universe always supports me. It always has my back, my front, my everything, because it is me. So that's double thinking. You're in the situation. I've been involved with over 30 years in this teaching, and there's been ministers that teach, no, don't look at that. Don't even acknowledge that. It's not happening, but it is happening. You're feeling it. Our emotions are feeling it, so we want to acknowledge it. We don't want to do a bypass. We want to acknowledge it, but at the same time, know that this too shall pass, and all is truly unfolding for us to learn, to deepen into these teachings, because they're all about success. So Jack Canfield, whose book we're using this month, he writes this: If you are going to be more successful, you have to get out of denial and face what isn't working in your life. Do not dwell in it, but to face and deal with it. Do you make excuses for your bad marriage? I know I did. Are you in denial about your lack of energy, your excess weight, your ill health, or level of fitness? Are you failing to acknowledge that sales have been on a constant downward trend for the last 3 months? He continues, successful people and organizations face these circumstances squarely, heed the warning signs, and take appropriate action. No matter how uncomfortable or challenging it might be, they are willing to look at what is and deal with it rather than hide and deny it. I know one of my first practitioners that I ever heard speak, she had a Southern accent, because anyone that says honey has a Southern accent, okay? They're from the South. Honey, the Nile isn't just a river in Egypt. And I know we've all heard that, but it's true. It is true. Often denial, what we deny, there's different ways of using that word, but denial in general is based on the notion that something even worse is going to happen once we stop denying it. In other words, we're afraid to face facts. The fact that the train runs through you. We are afraid to face facts squarely because we don't want them to get worse. We're afraid if we actually get to the end of that what we think is taking place is going to be so horrible, when it's usually not. From a spiritual perspective, facing the facts can absolutely and usually catapult us to a new level of beingness. Frankly, a new level of success. You know, when everything is going so wonderful in our lives, and I'm so grateful for when it is, and it just feels so good, and I'm so happy, and we don't really have the contrast of deepening into, and let's face it, we're in life. It's up and down, in and out, all over the place. But we stay centered, we stay rooted and anchored at the same time. This is all going on in the spiritual truth, that everything is in perfect order in our lives, and that's the absolute truth. Religious science minister Dr. Arthur Chang authored an article in the Science of Mind magazine quite a number of years ago, and he wrote about success. Succeeding through the creative pathway requires that we grasp the notion that the category of experience that we label problems are simply disguised opportunities. Sometimes it's hard to see that, but that's what he's saying. This is interesting. The Chinese, he said, understood this and correctly rendered the same character, their language and his characters, to represent crises and opportunity. It's the same character in the Chinese alphabet. It is said that it is one thing to pray for opportunities, but quite another when opportunities knock to complain about the noise. Problems are the noise opportunities make as it knocks on our door. So that noise is important. Our problems, he continues, provide the creative tension, that's the contrast, necessary to make us go deeper within and find the unsuspecting spring of spirit just when it may appear that we don't have enough to get the job done. And that last line is important. I'm going to read that again. Our problems, what we deem as problems, provide the creative tension necessary to go deeper within and find the unsuspecting spring of spirit just when it may appear that we can't get it done. And face them, deal with them, whatever is going on. Face it, it is what it is. I mean, that's the way it is. Face it, deal with it, and let it take us deeper into our consciousness, because there's so much wisdom within us. We are pure consciousness. The universe is pure consciousness. So the deeper we go, the more we learn about how to live joy, how to be in peace. We learn so much more about ourselves. Canfield, being outrageously practical, suggests that we make a list of what is not working, not what is working. We did that last week. Make a list of what is not working in your life in these 5 key areas, because most of life is found in these key areas. First, health. How is your physical, emotional, and mental well-being? Is there anything in there that needs attention? I came up with one yesterday, so I'm going to follow the next step with that. Finances. How is the flow of money and material good through your life? Do you have leaks that could be patched up? Relationships. Take a look at the quality of interactions, your interactions with others. Family, friends, co-worker, anyone that you come in contact with. Anything to be cleaned up there? Sometimes there is. Career and creative self-expression. How you express your special gifts and talents, and you will have them. Whether for income or for not, just because you're living life and you express more life. That's living a life of vitality, which we want. Anything there that you're not living life on purpose that you can eliminate? We want to live life on purpose. That means to creatively create as we live life. Always creating. It's what consciousness, God, does. It creates. That's what we do. When we're creating, we're living in the flow. And then the last one is spiritual and personal growth. Your relationship with yourself and with the God of your being. Where are you in this critically important dimension of your life? Depending on the area that you choose, and you can choose all of them if you want, you may want to enlist help. You know, if you know someone that you can really trust and that is on the same like-mindedness as you, ask them. Simply ask them. What is not working? What do I need to do? What action steps can I take to get my life on the affirmative track in this area? Choose one action, just one action, one step, and do it. Then keep taking another step and another. And eventually that situation will be resolved. That's the way it works. It's when we stay stagnant, we can never succeed. We lay dormant. There's a saying in religious science, treat and move your feet. So treat is affirmative prayer, so pray and move, right? This success principle that we're talking about is the move your feet part. You can pray all you want, but you got to take, when the answer to that prayer comes up, and it always does, take the action. You got to take the action, or else nothing happens. It's a bunch of noise. And as I've said in Sundays past, our practitioners and our ministers are brilliant in this this area because they have been trained for so many years on spiritual coaching and spiritual prayer work, which is what they do privately. Call them up. Their names and numbers are on the back of your bulletin. I mean, call them up and use them. That's what they're here for. That's what they train for. It's amazing. I always use a practitioner. I got a problem I can't solve on my own. I call my practitioner up. That's what I do. And it usually gets me to be in a place of absolute clarity. So this takes us to the final principle that we'll explore from this great book, which is start now and do it. Simple. Start now and do it. Oliver Wendell Holmes once wrote, and you've heard this, people die with their music still in them. Why is this so? Too often it is because they are always getting ready to live. Before they know it, time runs out. Right? Yeah. You don't want to die with that song in you. You want to live full out right now as best you can. Why not? Why not? You're the only one stopping you. So let's not be one of those. There is no perfect time to start anything, actually. You start it now. You start it now. Don't wait for a sign from the universe or for the stars to align in your astrological chart before you can go ahead. Go ahead until I see my astrologist, or I see my psychic or whatever, which is all fine and good, but no, don't wait. Start now. That's the success principle he's telling us to do. Give it to yourself. Give it to yourself. Begin now. Remember the great quote from Goethe. Whatever you can dream, you can do, or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. I always love that quote. Should have it up somewhere. That's a great, great book. The true key to success, however, you have defined it, and we've been defining it this month, is to take what you have right now and put it into action. We've been talking about this for 4 Sundays. Do all you can with what you have where you are. That's it. Do all you can with what you have from where you are now. It doesn't mean there still isn't growth and learning and expanding and releasing, you name it, to do. But if you wait for all of everything to align and be perfect, it's going to be possibly too late. Your music is still in you, waiting to get out. And there's been many opportunities, but, oh no, it wasn't the right time. I hear people say this. It's never going to be the right time. Time is now. I'm sure you recognize the name of the author of our book from this month. This is a great story I'm going to tell. Jack Canfield. He's the chicken soup guy, right? Chicken soup for the soul guy. Well, the line didn't just, this is interesting, the line didn't just start out like that. And I want to read you what Canfield wrote in his book about that in the early days. He says this, this is the story. When Mark Victor Hansen and I first released Chicken Soup for the Soul, I thought it would be a good idea to sell the book in bulk quality to some of the larger marketing networks. And thinking that they could give me or resell them to their sales force to motivate them and maybe have them take more risks and therefore achieve greater success in selling. I got a list, this is what he did. I got a list of marketing associates, and I started cold calling. I cold called the sales director of the larger companies, and sometimes I couldn't get that sales director to take my call. Other times I was told they're not interested. Several times I was actually hung up on. But eventually, after getting better at getting through to the right decision making and properly discussing the book's potential benefits, I made several significant sales. A few of the companies, they liked the book so much that they later hired me to speak at their motivational conferences. And I was a little scared making cold calls. Yeah, cold calls, that's a whole nother way of being. Did I know, this is him writing again, did I know what I was doing when I started? No. I had never tried to sell mass quantity of books to anyone before. I had to learn as I went, and trust me, that's one of the best ways. If you want to do something and you're waiting for everything to align, just start it now. That's how I started Joyful Gathering. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I just put one foot in front of the other and just figured it out as I went along. I never even thought I didn't know what I was doing. I just kept doing it. And that's what he's saying, and let me go back to him. The most important point is that I just got started. I got into communication with the people I wanted to serve, found out what their dreams were, aspirations and goals, and explored how our book might help them in achieving their objectives. Everything unfolded because I was willing to take a risk and jump into the ring. You too have to begin from wherever you are, he says, to start taking the action that will get you to where you want to be. And we all know that Chicken Soup for the Souls it's an incredibly successful series of books, just incredible. You and I alone are responsible for taking action to create the life of our dreams, what we want to experience. No one else can do it for us. No one else. You might think someone else, or we have to wait for something to happen. Wrong. Now you. That's it. So from wherever you are, you start moving. You start taking those steps. And I know within me, deep within me, that each and every one of us can do it. The series is all about success. You're getting the tail end of it, but that's okay. You're getting that part. It's about success and doing it now, right? The God of your being knows how to do it, and that means you know how to do it. So what is yours to do? Only you know that. Only you know that. What is your first and next step? How has this month of this series of talks inspired you to move, to expand your level of success? You gotta ponder these questions. Think about it. The first thing is a thought. Okay, this is what I gotta do, and I'm thinking to myself right now, what's my first step? I gotta make a phone call. A phone call, and I make an appointment. Then I don't know what happens after that. I'm gonna find out, and then you know. When I go through with this, I'm gonna use it as a lesson for all of us to know what I was doing. Because everything in life is a lesson, if we look for that, And remember these powerful words from New Thought authors, Jack and Cornelius Addington, in their book, Your Needs Met. This is what they write. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. There is no scrimping in the fullness thereof. In the infinite mind there is enough and much to spare. Plenty of ideas, plenty of customers, plenty of the symbol known as money. The only requirement is that we receive it first in consciousness. Oh, that's so good. It applies today. For our supply. Consciousness is our supply. God accomplishes through us, as us. Our success is God's success. God does not know failure. How then can we? It's a construct of the human race consciousness, failure. There's no such thing as failure in the infinite, in pure consciousness. There is no failure. And we are pure consciousness. We are God. So there can be no failure, only a belief in failure. Success begins with the decision, and then the first step. Whether it be health, relationships, new streams of income, whatever it is, whatever you can dream, you can achieve, but only you can do it for you. That's the way it is. And so, my friends, I wish you a month of absolute success. This whole month of June, today's the first day. Let this be the first day of the beginning of your success in life. And so it is.
So it is.